Hello, and welcome to another Wednesday on the Pagan Perspective. I'm your host, Eric. This is my wife, Elizabeth, and this week's topic is weddings. Now, I'd like to thank Dr. Awkward. I'm just checking my notes. Thank you, Dr. Awkward, for the suggestion. We're supposed to be talking this week about whether or not we feel that it's wrong for pagans to get married in a Christian way, and I'm not entirely certain what that means, other than having a traditional ceremony, perhaps with a priest, or if you're Catholic, having a bishop or whomever would preside. I don't know for certain, but I don't see that that would be wrong, personally, if that's what you want. Now, if it's not what you want, then don't do that. Hand fasting is the pagan understanding of a marriage, of a wedding. The pagan hand fasting, which as many people know is a year and a day, actually originated as a way for tribes to get together and have children together to solidify the bond of those two tribes coming together. The reason that it only lasted a year and a day is because then if the two people that were forced together didn't like each other, they didn't have to stay together. They just had to have a year and a day to make babies. Now, we don't have to do that anymore. It's not necessary. I mean, it's not like we're running out of people. We don't die of the plague or rickets or whatever. So it's not necessary to bring our tribes together by offspring anymore. So, I'm not, I don't have anything against the hand fasting. I just think the year and a day part is unnecessary. When we got married, it was kind of a combination of the two. We took some aspects of a Christian marriage and put that in with pagan ceremonial hand fasting pit. We actually were bound by a cord, so I guess it was a hand fasting of sorts, but instead of a year and a day, it's so long as the love lasts, which I think is a much, much better span of time. One of the things that we did was we knew that we were going to have to compromise.
Yes.
I mean, I knew I had to give up a few things. I don't remember them anymore, so they must not have been terribly important.
Right. Well, and I feel it's more important to be married to the right person than to have the right wedding.
Yeah.
Most of.
Yeah.
But we did compromise on quite a few things because some of our family is Christian and isn't pagan along with us. We didn't want to make them uncomfortable. So things that were important to us, like
setting space. We set space the night before. The day we got married, we wanted our ritual space to be open and set and defined. So we got a rug and we got all of our ritual tools, and we took them up the canyon. We got married in a little place called Affleck Park. It's up in the Uinta Mountains. Wasatch or Uinta, it doesn't matter. But we went up there the night before and went camping, which I highly recommend.
It's fantastic.
As long as you're at a cell phone, turn off your cell phone the night before. Totally recommend, because then nobody can get a hold of you and bother you about the next day.
Exactly. It was great.
At any rate, we went up there and we set space the night before so that all of our family and friends that were not pagan didn't feel terribly uncomfortable sitting around watching us do this and then being a part of that directly. But it was important to us, so we did it beforehand. Now there were some Christian. I don't know if I've said this already, but there were some Christian aspects to our wedding. We exchanged rings, only we did it our own way. The compromise there was she had her ring, and I had my ring already, and she gave me her ring so that therefore she was willingly binding herself to me and vice versa. And the vows that we exchanged, which is also apparently a Christian thing, or I could be wrong about that totally. I don't know. but the vows we exchanged were identical. There was no husband and wife there, man and wife thing. It was husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And the part where in the ceremony they ask if anybody has any objections, it was reworded to, and I wrote it down. Hold on, I wrote it down so that it was, are all present willing to support us in our union? So there was no way they could, there was no negative response. It was either say yes or you shut up, and we just kind of snuck it in, and it was really awesome. But afterwards, once we were done with our ceremony, we sent everybody away, and just the pagans hung around, and we closed the ceremony. I mean, everybody, including the non-pagans, were there for the hand fasting and everything, with the binding cord and the whole 9 yards. We actually did a wreath. I'll post some pictures on this video also with the wreath and just the whole thing. But it was really, really nice. One of the things that we also got our family involved in, which was a little bit outside of their comfort zone, but I think it was really appropriate and a lot of fun, was we had a wreath made of ivy, which in the Druidic Ogham stands for binding.
Binding, yes. My style of pagan, I follow Druidic and Celtic, so we've worked with the Ogham a lot. And in that, ivy is a binding together of things. Some books will tell you it's a negative because ivy can choke out the host plant, but that's actually pretty abnormal. That's if the host or the ivy is unhealthy. In a typical situation, or the correct way, ivy is a symbiotic relationship with the host. Similar to also buildings that are covered in ivy, if the building was constructed correctly, it doesn't destroy the mortar. You only find when it gets in there and destroys it if it was poorly constructed in the first place. So I did like that symbolism that it was a way to bind us to each other, but that if we weren't strong enough to be good to each other, it would help.
Choke each other out.
We were going to choke each other out. So
one of the other things we did with the ivy was we had our family members come up and actually weave herbs and flowers and other various things into the ivy, and along with that, the blessings that they wish to bestow on us in our union, which I thought was a really, really great idea.
Yeah,
it had nothing to do with my creation. I was totally...
Well, I'd seen somebing, somebody had done a similar thing with some isolated people, but I did the research on traditional meanings of different flowers, and then ran around to the florist shops a couple days before to order as much as I could. So we had some rosemary, roses. My mom worked in some willow. And basil. Bells of iron.
Put it in soup. Sorry.
Just different things, and gave them little cheat sheets of the different meanings, so that while we were getting ready for the wedding, getting the groomsmen and the bridesmaids and everybody in order, the guests got to pick a flower if they wanted to come up and work that in. And that was really nice because then we got a moment with the friends and family that came up to work it in.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But generally speaking, I don't think that it's wrong for a pagan to get married, and by a Christian priest or pastor or whomever. Or for that matter, I don't think that it's blasphemous for a Christian to get married by a high priestess.
No.
Or anything, that's...
I think it's important that it's something that you're comfortable with. Hi, kitty.
This is precious.
And that it needs to be a way that solidifies your commitment to the other person. Marriage in and of itself, no matter how many ritual elements it has involved, no matter how much traditional symbolism is included, it's not going to change your relationship with that other person, but it is a ritual way to solidify your commitment to the other person. And it's that commitment that makes marriage work.
I agree. So, to sum up, and really, just kind of overall, when it comes to weddings and pagans and Christians and everyone else, the most important rule is be true to yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else wants. And if you're not okay with it, don't do it. But that's pretty much all we've got on this topic, and thanks, honey, for helping me out with this.
Thanks for
And
including me.
thanks for watching, and until next time, Odin be with you.